Well, hi there, and welcome to the Infinity Futures Daily Trading video. My name is Raleigh White, and I'm here to talk to you about the trades we took in our live trading room on Monday, October 27th, 2014. Well, looking at today's economic calendar, we can see there were two key events that we needed to be aware of. At 8:45, we had the Flash Services PMI data being released, and it came in a bit lower than expected with a value of 57.3 versus an estimate of 57.9. Then at 9 o'clock, we had pending home sales data coming out, and it was also lower with only a 0.3% increase over the prior month, and that was versus a forecasted increase of 1.1%. Now, as far as today's pre-market sentiment was concerned, things were fairly negative coming into the open. Now, the Asian markets had closed mixed after the European Central Bank had released its stress test results. Investors were cautious after 25 lenders in Europe failed the European Central Bank stress test and ahead of the upcoming FOMC meetings and statement this week. We saw that the best performing market in Asia was the Japanese Nikkei. It closed up 0.6 of a point as the weaker yen was helping export shares, and also Australia closed up 0.7 of a point on gains in the financial sector. On the flip side, though, the Chinese markets in Hong Kong were down 0.7 of a point, and Shanghai was down 0.5 of a point on declines in the financial services and real estate sectors. As far as the European markets were concerned, they were open but trending lower on disappointing economic data. Now, sentiment in Europe had soured after the German IFA business confidence dropped for the 6th straight month. We also saw that the European Central Bank stress test results showed that 25 out of 130 member banks have insufficient capital reserves. However, 12 of the failed lenders have already raised enough capital to meet their requirements. As far as the United States is concerned, Wall Street figured to open up lower ahead of this week's FOMC statement. Now, the futures were pointing down coming into the open following the global markets lower and ahead of the two-day Fed meetings, which will culminate in a statement released Wednesday afternoon. We note that it's a very, very busy week this week on corporate earnings, as 143 S&P companies are scheduled to report this week, and there will be a focus today on results from T-Mobile, Merck, and Twitter. As far as U.S. investors are concerned, their focus today would be on the Flash Services PMI and pending home sales coming out shortly after the open of the U.S. trading session, and on third quarter corporate results. Now, as far as my trading activity is concerned, I attempted 4 entries in the markets, but unfortunately had 0 fills on any of those entry attempts, but I do want to show you what I was looking at. But before doing so, I need to remind everyone of this following important disclaimer, and that is that trading futures involves substantial risk of loss and is not necessarily suitable for all investors. You should carefully consider whether trading is suitable for you in light of your circumstances, knowledge, and financial resources, as you may lose all or more of your initial investment. And always remember that past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. Well, turning to the charts, I'd like to begin here with the Euro FX futures markets and 2 attempts that we had to enter trades in this market. You can see right here at the open of the trading session, we had 2 bars moving lower, followed by 2 bars retracing, and I was hoping off this second bar there would be a short entry here at 126.95. Well, what happened here on this trade is the market came within a couple of ticks of giving me a fill, and when it did not fill me and we were coming into the release of the Flash Services PMI report, I elected to get out of the market rather than have my entry there on the release of that data. Then following on just a little bit further, we can see that prices had moved higher through the previous day's high, and prices in the market was trending, and I decided to look for an opportunity to get into a trend retracement trade, and that was here after we saw this first bar retracing after the trend. You can see that we lost here at the RSI indicator, and this would be a perfect opportunity to get a fill to go long at 127.02, just above the previous day's high, and it looks like we came within just a couple of ticks from getting filled before the market moved in what would have been our direction. And as soon as it passed through what would have been my profit target, I had to take this trade off. The next market I saw an opportunity in was the 30-year bond market. And looking at this market, when we were about 2/3 of the way through the trading session, you can see in bonds we had 2 bars moving higher, followed by 1 bar retracing and a second bar retracing. And I was looking for a long entry here at 142.1, just on top of the main pivot point, hoping to get a fill here and a 2-tick scalping move in my direction. You can see the market opened up here and then moved sharply against me, and when this happened, I needed to go ahead and take this trade off. Lastly, I saw a nice opportunity in the crude oil market, and looking at this entry, we can see that this is towards the tail end of the trading session, but you can see we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bars moving higher. And so what I looked for was a trend retracement entry. I was looking at this first bar retracing where we would lose the RSI indicator, and that would be here with a long entry at 80.42, just on top the previous day's low. Well, we can see this bar opened up. It did go a couple of ticks in my direction, and then it moved away from me, and when it did that, I had to take this trade off. So just to recap, folks, I had 4 attempts in the market, 2 in the 6E, 1 in the bond, and 1 in the crude oil markets, but no fills today, no trading activities, and looking forward to seeing what kind of opportunities might present themselves tomorrow. Well, looking at tomorrow's economic calendar, you can see that we have a relatively busy day. Things get kicked off at 7:30 with the release of the core durable goods orders, and then that's followed by the durable goods orders. Then at 8 o'clock, we have the composite 20 house price index, and then about a half hour after the markets open up, we have the release of the Conference Board consumer confidence. Each one of these reports are important reports, so there's the real potential that we could see some volatility and some bounce in the markets around the release of this data, and hopefully that'll give us some nice opportunities for some trades. So with that, thank you very much for watching today's daily video. I wish you a pleasant evening. I look forward to speaking to you tomorrow. Take care and good night.